When I record podcasts, I like to stay hydrated. Who knew talking could be so hard? My favourite drink to have to hand is Lifeline's Hydro OG. It's a tried and tested product for me. It helped me and my team complete a 24-hour podcast, giving us the edge that we needed to get over the finish line. So whether you're at the gym, on a bike ride, or just trying to get over that night before, Lifeline's Hydro OG has got your back. Each serving is stocked with all the healthy ingredients and vitamins you could ask for. There are a great range of flavours, and with each serving at only 18 calories, you really can't go wrong. Here at the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast, we like to support local, independent companies and brands, and Lifelines is a product that I am proud to endorse. Go to lifelines.com. Now that's LYFELINEZ.com to find out more. Now, without further ado, here is today's episode. Hey guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley. Thank you for tuning in. Today, a good friend of our show joins us on the show, Carrie Hughes. How are you, Carrie? You all right?
I'm very good, thank you. Yes, really good.
Yeah, it's nice to chat to you again. It's always good to catch up with friends. Have you been busy? I know there's been lots going on at the moment.
I have been super busy. It's we're in Christmas, full throes of Christmas events.
In what? Sorry.
Christmas. Yeah, that awful C word that actually I have to talk about all year round because these things don't happen overnight. But here we are.
Yeah, here we are. We're hitting this time of the year where I feel like I know there's a lot of people struggling at the moment, and there's people worrying about Christmas and stuff. But I feel like because of COVID, because of the current situation financially, I feel like there's a lot of sentimentality around Christmas now. I think it's kind of switching. You know, a few years ago, it was all about how many Xboxes you could buy for your family and stuff, whereas now it's more about getting together and those sentimental little things that you can do for each other. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it's for the better. It's Christmas for the last couple of years has felt less commercialized. And like you say, it's not about buying the biggest and most expensive gifts. It's about the time that you have with family and the smaller things and the more thoughtful gifts and things like that. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
We were talking about just last night, actually. I was around my wife's aunties, and her nan is over from Colombia. She's staying with us for a bit. And so we were having this really big family get together with her nan and her mom, and and we were talking about the Scott, who's my wife's cousin's husband. I'm just going to invite you all into the family. You guys he makes the most amazing Christmas dinners, and we were like, oh my god, we were like talking about it, and it was just like such a great conversation because it made me realize that it is about the gatherings and the getting together.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I think more and more people are embracing that. They've almost kind of like rewind with Christmas and almost like untangled it and gone, actually, what is this about? And it is about family time, isn't it? And spending time with people that you love, whether it's friends or family. And I think it's for the better. Not everyone might agree, but yeah, I think it's lovely.
I think also it can be good for people. There are people out there that maybe don't have a great time at Christmas because maybe bad anniversaries or they don't have the family, but it's good to sort of reach out and offer that to people. I think it's kind of really rewarding to be able to sort of embrace bringing someone in to, you know what I mean? It's
I know. Yeah, definitely. And I think through certainly that 1 year during COVID when we were really restricted and we weren't allowed in each other's houses, I think that made people realize actually, miss spending time with these people. And this is a key time of year. Like you say, some people don't enjoy Christmas or bad anniversaries or whatever. And I think people are more like, this is what we need to do. We need to embrace this time as family time and look after each other. And it's not about the extravagance anymore. I've certainly noticed that a lot through the people that I speak to, that they're just looking forward to spending time with family as opposed to the big lavish dinner and all the gifts and how many presents are under the tree and all of that lot. So and definitely that's the case for me, certainly.
I was having a conversation on Facebook the other day because I'll try and very quickly create a video of like Christmas in Shrewsbury, and just come around with a camera and just like get little snippets and put them all together of what does Christmas look like in Shrewsbury. Because a couple of years ago, Aaron Child made that beautiful video.
Yes. He did, didn't he? Yeah.
The drummer boy.
Shrewsbury is such a beautiful town all year round, but Christmas in Shrewsbury is really quite magical. It has that vibrancy about it. It's one of the best places to be, I think, for Christmas. We could just do with snow. It'd be nice to have a white Christmas in Shrewsbury. That would be epic.
That would be nice. Snow's one of those things where it's like, oh my god, that's really wonderful. It's really magical. And it can go now. We've got the pictures. We put it on Instagram. It can go now because it's a massive inconvenience. So you say you've been talking about this all year with Pink Pebble, putting on events and stuff. This is one of your events that you've been planning all year.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, tell us about it. Yeah.
So Chris, with events, they don't happen overnight, and generally we plan 12 months in advance. So we literally finish Christmas kind of like mid-December, and then by January we're working on dates and branding for the next Christmas. So and we work on it. We take bookings in from our traders, our marketing plans, and all that kind of stuff. That happens all year round. So Christmas is something that's like a part of my weekly work routine. So it's like I try not to talk about it a lot because people are like, oh god, I'm talking about Christmas already, and it's only like April.
In July.
Yeah, I've had 2 days of it, at work. So for me, it's part of my job all year round.
Does that kind of spoil? I mean, I remember years ago I worked at Asda. Retail is probably the worst place to be for Christmas because, especially if they're playing music and the same Mariah Carey like 18 times a day, like you're kind of like, oh my god. And do you know what? I feel like let me move my phone away from my mixes. I feel like since I moved away from that sort of that industry, retail and stuff, I feel like I do appreciate the Christmas a bit more because it kind of all comes in. What about you? Does it affect you a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of a Grinch when it comes to Christmas, and because I work on it all year round, and from mid-November up until mid-December, it's Christmas events, there's Christmas activities, there's so much going on. By the time I get to actual Christmas, I am just so sick to death of it. In the past, I used to go abroad for Christmas and New Year every year and sit in the sun, which was perfect. It was bliss. But then going back to what we were saying before, when the pandemic happened and we couldn't be out and about with family and we couldn't really celebrate Christmas, I suddenly realized, you know what, I really miss this. And so I've kind of done like a full turn with it. Whereas no, I'm actually this year really looking forward to it again.
It's Christmas. Yeah.
I know. We'll see if that changes though. Mid-December when we've got all of these events out the way, maybe I'll be feeling a little bit more jaded with it all. But it's certainly I used to really I just wanted to see the back of it. But I think
I'd love to hear about how people are. We were talking about pre-COVID and post-COVID and how it has actually changed people's opinions on Christmas. If you're listening to this now and it has genuinely brought you closer to your family, or you appreciate those gatherings a little bit more, just let us know, write into us, and because I'd love to. I think it's really fascinating because society is a wonderful thing that it's like a living organism that changes and molds and morphs into different things. So it'd be interesting to see. So when does this begin? You say it begins at the beginning of the year, but when do you officially start planning Christmas?
Literally when I come back to work in January after having a break. So normally I go abroad for Christmas. I come home kind of early January, and then we're booking in the dates for our Christmas markets and events for that year. So it literally starts in January for me.
And where are you guys doing it this year? Where are you your events?
Family Christmas or work Christmas?
No, the events. Can we all come round?
Welcome to mine.
You said you like the gatherings now, yeah. No, yeah. Where are we holding these events then this year? Because obviously you've got to get them booked in early.
Yeah, our two big events. We hold one at Salop Leisure, so it launches their Salop Christmas. So what they have Santa's Grotto, Tea with Santa. They've got a Twilight Twinkle Trail and loads of other Santa stuff going and Christmas stuff going on. So we have a 2-day Christmas gift fair there, and this year it's on the 3rd and 4th of December. Sorry, I have to think about that then. So 3rd and 4th of December, that's a big event. We're 10 years into that one now. So it's very popular, very busy. We have lots of trade. We have about 60 pop-up shops there, so 60 traders. So that's the first one. The next big one is the weekend after that, which is the 10th and 11th of December. And that takes place in St. Mary's Church in the town centre.
I'm glad to hear that. Because I love that place. I love that place lots.
Absolutely amazing venue, and it's just beautiful. And at Christmas time, it's wonderful. So, yeah. So that's us. And then I organise and manage a lot of other events. So then I go into my freelance management role, dealing with lots of Christmas parties and Christmas weddings this year. And that takes me right up until the 21st of December. I think that's the last one, which is a wedding.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Party liaison.
Yeah. So I'll either be like raring for Christmas Day, or I'll be like, I'm all done out. I'm all done out with all this shopping and parties and weddings and whatever else. So, but it's all good. It's all good.
What are the key ingredients to make a good party then? I mean, I was going to say, is it seasonal? Can we think of it seasonal? But in general, what are the key ingredients of a good party?
Do you know what? I think depending on the nature of the party and the reason for the party, but I think the first thing is the people. For you to have a good and wholesome evening, it's about spending time with the people that you want to, that you enjoy being around. Food is always a big one for me. I mean, good God, if you're having a party, you've got to have food. And then obviously
everyone talks about the spread, don't they? Oh, they got a lovely spread.
Yeah, of course they do. And so that's a big thing. Entertainment and alcohol obviously normally always comes into the throw. I know a lot of people actually this year, we've noticed through our events and through events that I manage, a lot of people have gone dry. They're not, and non-alcoholic drinks. There's a new shop actually opened in Shrewsbury. I think it's called Dry.
Yeah.
So that's actually quite a big thing. And we've seen a lot of that coming into our events and people asking, is there going to be offerings for non-alcoholic mulled wine, for example? Gin seems to be a big thing that, and it used to be beer, wasn't it? You could get a non-alcoholic beer.
I think things have come far now, haven't they? Because I remember I tried a non-alcoholic beer a few years ago. It tasted like, imagine if you get Weetabix and just watered it down until it became a liquid. That's what it tasted. I was like, what is this? It's awful, but I think things have gone a bit further now. They're a bit better.
Yeah. So yeah, people, food, drink, entertainment, good music. I guess it depends on what the event is, but those seem to be the things that people focus on when booking events anyway and parties.
I imagine over the few years of you doing this, you've had a few horror stories of the things that have gone catastrophically wrong.
Yeah.
What happens to your mindset when that happens? Because obviously, like, you learn from them, the mistakes you do, but like
you do
in the moment, like, how do you deal with that?
Do you know, it's really difficult. I'm very lucky it hasn't happened that often with what I do, but there's always, I think in every event there's always something that doesn't go quite to plan. There have been times where things have gone horribly wrong, like caterers didn't turn up and you've got 120 people expecting to be fed, and it's all like you have crisis point. I guess it depends on how calmly you can deal with the matter, and I'm quite a quick thinker and I'm very calm, so and I say to all my staff, everybody always laughs at me. They always say, because I always say I want solutions, not problems. So if someone comes to me and there's a problem, right, okay, that's a problem. What's the solution? And it's just about quick. You have to think quickly when things go wrong at an event. you have to think really quickly. Unfortunately, because I've been in this industry for quite some time, and my events and suppliers I try and keep local, there's usually someone I can call upon in an emergency to help out. So I'm really fortunate in that sense. And that's the beauty of keeping business local. And I've done that. I've been trading since 2012, and I've always used local suppliers and local producers. And believe you me, it's dug me out the dirt on, on numerous occasions.
Yeah, it's a good thing in Shrewsbury. People love their independence. Yeah. We're talking about dry. Oh gosh, I keep knocking this microphone, and they've got these really noisy springs. I'm like, I need to get a new mic stand. That's the next thing I need. Really noisy. Christmas present. Yeah.
There you go.
New microphones, new stands. Dry on Wild Carp is owned by the same people who run Stock Cafe. Independents are doing really good things, You walk at Wild Carp and there's all these amazing places, but I think the best thing about a gift fair like what you offer is there's lots of independent people with great ideas.
And they're also all of our traders are local. We have one or two that are from just across the border, but they trade a lot within Shrewsbury and Shropshire. So we pride ourselves on supporting local independent businesses, and some of them are startups, and they're brand new to the whole thing. Some of them have been trading with me since the very beginning, back in 2012, but they're all local independent businesses. So it's about keeping the money within the community, keeping it all local. And like I say, I do that with my traders, and I do that with my suppliers. So everybody within my my company and within my events, I'd say 98% are local traders and suppliers, which is amazing. And Shrewsbury it has an abundance of independent traders. Absolutely loads of some of them, it's just a hobby or a sideline, and they work from home. Some have their own stores and shops. But yeah, we live in an absolutely incredibly talented town and county.
Yeah.
And to be able to showcase that to the public is, it's an honor, really.
It is, and we've met so many independent artists and traders. I mean, I love speaking to people that make things, So when I'm at Drawn, which is run by Cherie Gerard, an amazing event, local artist.
She's a great girl.
She's amazing.
She is,
I thrive on that, and we just spoke to Franco from Pueblo Artisan Food, making South American food. That was an amazing conversation to have, because it's something out of the box for people in Shropshire. Like, it's South American food. How often do you see that? And it's just like you said, it's an abundance of people that will come and make things. Have you got I want to say I've got a list of people I'll turn, but is there anybody in particular that you're looking forward to seeing this year at your event?
You know what I've had this year? And again, I don't know whether this has kind of sprouted from the pandemic, but I've had a lot of new traders this year. And with all of my events, I try and keep some of my regulars, and they trade with me all the time. But I also like to bring in new people, so that as a visitor, you come back to the same event every year, but you're seeing something different and something new. And we have had loads this year of really talented people who've set up little businesses. And I think that's grown from people being at home in the pandemic, and was taking time to do the things that they really love doing and creating. And I love to see them all, I have to be honest. We have certain there seems to be trends every year. So sometimes it's like candles and wax melts. It can be jewelry. One year we just seem to have loads of people doing textile stuff. This year there's just been lots of different things cropping up. Lots of bakers as well. Lots of bakers, but we all baked, didn't we, during the lockdown?
Yeah. I know lots of people that did that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I absolutely love to see the people that are providing sweet treats and cakes. Come along to my events and feed me. I love it. I love food. So yeah, it's always good to see the food traders. We have lots of those. Lots of different stuff coming up. But it's all there's loads. I love seeing them all, to be honest.
Did you learn any new skills during lockdown? I'm trying to think if I did. I don't think I did, actually. I just do lots and lots of podcasting. Yeah,
I can imagine. I don't think I really learned any new skills. do you know what? I spent the time having quality time with my children. Because they're at school, they were at school at the time. Well, my eldest son was in that year where they missed their exams.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But it was absolutely lovely, and the weather was glorious. Just to spend time with them, just quality time. I obviously enjoyed the lions in the morning. Not having. Yeah, I really enjoyed that bit. I don't think I learned anything new. I just spent time doing the things that feed my soul that I really love doing. I did a lot of cooking, not really baking, but cooking. I cooked a lot. That was nice. I did quite a bit of decorating as well.
The reason I ask is because you're right. Over my time sort of interviewing people through lockdown, after lockdown, and even as far as the last drawn event that we went to, I found out so many people, like you said earlier, that acquired new skills, turned hobbies into businesses during that time. And it's really interesting to think about that. That troubling time caused a lot of ingenuity. It's just an interesting thought. And now people have got businesses from it,
I know. Do you know what? It's great, isn't it? Because it's so easy to sit here and say, oh, God, wasn't it an awful time? And lots of people were poorly and we weren't allowed to leave our houses. And it was, and for some people, it was an awful time. I know that a lot of people have struggled with mental health going into it and coming out of it. But if you flip it, actually, for a lot of people, it's brought a lot of positive things. Like they've turned something, crafting or something that they enjoyed doing, skills that they have that they enjoyed, they've turned that into a business, and it's given them opportunities that they otherwise might not have taken the step to take. So I try and look at it from that point of view, and I know a lot of my traders that's where they've come from. A skill that they had before that they've had time to work on and to develop has now become a business for them. And that's not about when you enjoy your job. If you love what you do, it's not really like a job, is it?
No. Well, what I did was I did the one thing everybody else did is I launched a new podcast network. It burned to the ground. It was USUC. We released it. And everybody was releasing podcasts at the time. I was like, we had this amazing idea. And do you know what? We did get a lot of really nice, cool celebrities on the show because nobody's doing anything. So it was just like,
everyone had the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But now we can get out and about. And I was talking the other day, I think it was Claire from Peaks Travel. Congratulations to Peaks Travel League, by the way. 30 years is an amazing achievement, and they do great. Yeah. And they won an award for showing initiative during lockdown and using their skills. But yeah, one of the I lost my train of thought. Then what was I talking about? But no. This happens now and again. It really does.
To me all the time.
It's been a long day. Do you know what? I had a really nice meeting earlier. It's Friday, but I'm going to Abbey Fest later, which is Lincoln Davis. We're going to get some interviews and stuff, which would be great. Hopefully,
that's always a great event, and another great venue actually. Another great venue in Shrewsbury for events.
Yeah, I went last year. I went with a big shout out to my friend Kevin, who I work with. We went for a works do at the Armoury, and I was like, I'm going to go to a beer festival at the Abbey. He's like, at the Abbey? I was like, yeah. He goes, I'm going to have to come and see this. I don't believe you. And we did. We walked up to the Abbey, and he's like, I can't believe. And he's having a beer, and he's going, I used to come here when I was in school. He's getting on. He's a more mature guy, and he's like, I used to come here when I was in school. I can't believe I'm sat here having a beer in the Abbey. And it's just a great venue. It really is a great venue.
Oh man.
What's the feedback like? What's the for Gift Fair this year? Have you lots of people really excited to come?
Yeah, trader wise, we've been booked up for a little while now, fully booked. We usually find that we've got a couple of stands left, within a couple of weeks beforehand, but this year absolutely fully booked, and we've got a huge reserve list. Unfortunately, the likes of St Mary's Church can't be extended, so we can only work with the space, and we fill it to the brim. And then visitor-wise, I think, well, we have a lot of other kind of similar events. So we have spring, summer, and harvest festival markets throughout the year. So they kind of feed these ones at the end of the year, and we use those to promote the Christmas fairs. But I think people expect this kind of thing at Christmas. They know that Shrewsbury's, got lots of cool Christmas stuff going on. So the following is really good. The traders we're fully booked for. So yeah, we just need to open our doors and do the business.
Absolutely, and I feel like there's always a big cry out to increase football into town in certain areas in Shrewsbury, and these events are happening in town, especially in St Mary's, right in the heart there. It's it's really important to do that, because, and as well, it seems bad, doesn't it, to draw people away from the big chain stores, but no, I think independents deserve.
Oh, I don't feel bad about that.
No.
That's my mission.
You could feel bad about it, but not in Shrewsbury. We love our independence.
No. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to be without a job, but I'm just like, come and spend your money with these. I mean, when you buy something from a small independent trader, it means so much to them. Not only that you've enjoyed and liked their product so much that you bought it, but it's financial support for them. And we have the big chain stores in town, and they employ people, and that pays them in the same way. But I'm all for trying to encourage people to shop local. Go and buy bits and bobs from the big stores, but buy something that is unique, that nobody else, you can't buy it anywhere else on the high street. It's a unique product. And I think gifts like that are always nice, aren't they? They seem to have more like feeling and thought behind them rather than something that's mass produced and picked off a shelf. So
this is what I was kind of getting to at the beginning, is that I don't like. I've never really needed the big extravagant gifts. I've had them at years. And I'm like, oh my god, I get really embarrassed when people buy me really expensive. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what to say. Like, sentimentally, I love my Batman, I love my Rick and Morty, and I love my podcasting stuff. I like my NFL. There's little things you can buy me. A key ring. My mum bought me a key ring for my birthday. Where it's gone, and that I was like, that's amazing. Little things like that really do just fill me up with. I can look at it and be like, oh, I've got my desk now with little reminders of who I am as a person. Little toys, little things like this. Just love, So yeah, that's what it's all about. Is there anything that, sentimentally, that you look at these events and think, oh, I could do that myself? I like that,
Oh, all the time. All the time. Yeah. When I first started doing this, I literally would spend all my money. I'd buy everything that I wanted, not only because I loved it and I love the fact that it's unique and, it's a chance I'm going to have something or wear something or use something that nobody else has seen before, but also because I like to support my traders. So I used to, when I first started doing this, I used to spend so much money, and I don't have a problem with spending money I've got with my local traders, but it got to the point where it was a bit out of hand. So I've learned over the years and I always go around all the traders and say hi and look at their products, and it's nice to see them in real life, because obviously they send me photos of what they're going to be selling beforehand when they apply, but it's nice to see it, to see it and touch it and feel it. But I've had to learn to be very controlled and not buy everything that I want, because there'd literally be something off every stand that I'd want to buy. So I'm better, but I still do. I will try and do most of my Christmas shopping at both of my Christmas events this year.
I remember chatting to I think it was Sam Purley-Stride at one of Cherie's drawn events, and she was like, I need to stop spending money. She's like, I'm trying to make money and then spend.
That's the problem. Everything I made, I spent. I was like, what? Oh, well, I've got my Christmas shopping done, so yeah.
One of the things that's always been a thing for Christmas is trends, right? So at the moment, I think every supermarket in the country right now is coming up with a toy, something they could sell, and then a few years ago it was like the German markets. They're still going, they're doing great, but like there's always seems to be a thing that is the thing of the year. And when it comes to like handmade manufactured things for that local independents make, is there something you look for when you always like? Does it really matter to you that, because like sometimes you need a hook to bring people in, don't you? Whether
Definitely.
Tote bags, whether it's hat or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when we're looking for traders, obviously they apply to us and they have to send us pictures of their products. We need to know that they are actually handmade and not mass produced. So we're just looking for good quality, something that's a little bit different, something unique, something that you're not going to see a cheaper version of on the high street store shelves. It's just, something it's the difference, something a little bit different. And that's what we're looking for when we're looking at traders. We're very lucky that we get an abundance of applications, so there's plenty of choice. And what we try and do is not over categorize any one product or over saturate the event with any one product. So, we've only have 4 jewelry suppliers in, but they'd all be different. So there's not too much competition amongst the traders. And what you find with like the independents is there's never really a trend. In the high streets, like you're saying, there's a certain toy and that's the thing of the year. We don't really get that because all of the products are designed and reflect the character of the person that's designed them and made them. So they never really follow a trend because they're following their own creative. So it's just, that's the way.
That's nice.
It is lovely. It's lovely that you're not seeing the same, I don't know. My kids are a bit older, so I don't really know what the trend is with toys and things.
I've got a 7-year-old and I don't even know.
Maybe we should get him on and can find out.
Well, he's all about his art, so I'm thinking, artsy stuff is going to be his thing this year. I think kids go for their own trends, don't they? And they decide which path they want to go down. But yeah, as far as the toy of the year, or we can go back and look at nostalgic the toys of the year. Remember all the Furbies and this, that, and the other. That were big at the time. But
what were the little puppet things that come to me in a minute?
Boglins.
Anyway, Boglins, that's Boglins. It. But they were mass-produced plastic crap.
Yeah, I agree.
And you don't get that with creative people, with the independent traders. It's just
our the art that's produced in this county goes far and wide as well. I was just I am putting together a limited series of podcasts called Biscuit International. I'm not doing You Suck anymore. I'm not doing Inglorious Barstools. I'm not speaking to people from far and wide, and I love doing that. So I thought, let's do a limited run. I'm speaking to some of my friends from around the world. So I went all the way to the UK to speak to Laura Kidd from Penfriend. It's somebody I love her podcast, Attention Engineer. She's an amazing musician. I have signed albums from her. She's going to do one of the episodes. But I was chatting to her in an interview, and she's like, "Do you know Dan Catt?" And I was like, "Yes, I know Dan Catt. I was sat right next to him at Draw, and he's a very well-known guy. I know he gave me some limited bits, but she's a famous artist, and she's got his art. So it's amazing that Shropshire are producing. I think that's great.
I mean, I don't know. I'd like to think that this happens in other counties as well. But Shropshire and Shrewsbury, all these places that it's like a magnet. You're always drawn back here, and everything is in the heart of And you think this is the only county where this happens. I don't know. Maybe it does happen in other counties. I don't feel I've experienced it.
But I mean, I think there's some. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm here, but there's got to be, every county's got their own artists. Of course they have. But I feel like there's something special, especially when it comes to Shrewsbury. I keep talking about this because I do work in Telford and I do work in Oswestry and I do work in Shrewsbury. But I feel like every town in this county has got its own thing. I feel like musically, I think Telford is brilliant. I think there's so many amazing musicians in Telford. In Shrewsbury, there's lots of art people and crafts people, and everybody's got their own thing. But I guess every county's got its own makeup. But it's good to celebrate that. It really is.
Yeah, it is. But I still think ours is the best.
Yeah, of course it is.
I'm not that biased or anything.
What are the biggest challenges for you for putting something like this together? Obviously, you've been doing this for a long time, but I guess every year puts up its own difficulties. What are the things that you dread?
I mean, for me, the only part of my job that I dread is the admin, because I'm such a people person and I'm such a doer. I always feel like the admin takes too much of my time. I don't want to be sat behind my computer doing invoices and all this stuff. I want to be out there, and I know. I just want to be out there meeting people, seeing what they do, experiencing what they do. So there's no real kind of dread for me. There's a lot of paperwork that goes with organising events, with risk assessments, health and safety, insurances, all of the stuff that you have to put together, licenses, contracts and venue contracts. There's obviously all the bills you have to pay, and so there's all of that. And I don't dread it. It's part of the job, but it's the part that I enjoy the least. I think is probably the best way to say it. And then when it comes to event day and it all comes together, the feeling on the day, and when the people start coming through the doors and it gets really busy, and especially at Christmas, everyone's really happy and it's all like a really kind of like, it's just got that warm kind of feel about it. It's just such a wholesome feeling, and just so nice to think, actually, myself and my very small team have brought this together, and all these people enjoying this, and all these traders earning money and selling their stuff, and we've brought this together, and it's just such a special feeling that it almost makes all the boring bit go away.
I always talk about that, because whether it's, whether I'm coming up with Beth Heath or yourself, or where events that I go to, I always seem to notice a moment where the creator of an event is just standing there watching, looking, quietly to themselves, like, I made this. And
that's when you're having that inner moment of like, we got here. It's all come together. It's all okay. And you just stand there and go, God, we did this. All of these people here and enjoying this, and we've given this, we've produced this for everybody to enjoy, and it is such a magical feeling. But every event organizer or manager has that moment. Once the dust has settled and everything's okay, you just have that, like, it's like being in a little bubble. You just have that like moment where you just stand and stare. And then it's like, right, back into it. Okay. Or someone throws a coffee at you or something to eat because you've not eaten for 2 days straight. But
the only way I can relate is obviously with Pod Aid this year. We raised, by the way, guys, we raised 30. I got the, I don't know whether I wrote it down somewhere. But Lincoln Davis, we raised £1,300 for Lincoln Davis. The total came in the other day. But like, that's the only way I could, thank you. But it was like, there was again, spreadsheets, and just planning and artwork, and for the whole few months that we were planning it. But like, there was a moment of existential dread. I was interviewing Marcus Bean, right, and the internet just went. And the reason being was it timed out. We were going on their internet, and it completely cut us off because we'd had our fill, if you like, And I ran down. It was love to stay, and I ran down and said, "Hi, we've got an internet. Marcus Bean's upstairs," And the guys there, what they did is they created our own server, because they got this super fast internet there downstairs, but they put a limit on it. Nobody can sit there like downloading stuff, whatever. But they were like, right, we've set you up your own server, we've taken the limit off, and it was like the fastest internet I've ever seen. But there was it took me a couple, because we were interviewing the whole time. It took a while for that existential dread to sort of die down, even though we'd solved the problem. And it came to like midnight, and we're interviewing Adam and the Metal Hawks, an amazing band, one of the biggest TikTok channels in the world. And we're interviewing them, and I sat back, and I was looking at all the equipment, looking to the guys interviewing, and I was just kind of like, we did it. It took that long for me to realise.
And sometimes, like some events, it takes longer than others. Some events you can literally get the setup and get all your traders in and open the doors to the public, and it happens almost instantly. Some events, it doesn't sometimes happen till like much later in the day, and it's almost like you're running on this weird adrenaline. Like, what's going to go wrong? Why am I not feeling this? We've done it. We've got here, and that can be a little bit unnerving sometimes. Because when that happens to me, right, I always think, oh my God, I've forgotten to do something, because I've not like relaxed into it, and I'm like, what have I forgotten? Is everybody here? And I have this like, everything's on on a system and on a checklist, so we know that everything's happened. But I always have that little moment of, I've forgotten something. But it always comes. But isn't it such a good feeling though? Like, you just said that. Yeah.
Well, it's because I'd always last year's pod aid just seemed to run so smoothly. I didn't get that moment of absolute gratitude of it all working. There was a moment actually when Adam Pennell turned up and he was like, cocktails, and we were like, yeah, and that kind of relaxed me a bit last year. But this year, there was that moment. I got a TV chef upstairs on his phone like this because like we had to stop interviewing because we were like, we've got no internet and nobody can hear. But so I had that moment of just like, oh, it's okay now, But yeah, I think problem solving and putting those fires out does keep you it keeps you going though. It lubricates the points a little bit, I think.
It does. You're literally your brain is thinking all the time, and you get to the point when you've done this job for so long that you're like almost you're looking, reading the room, you're reading the event, and you're like, okay, what potentially could go wrong? Well, you get some areas that get really congested and busy, and you're looking for bottlenecks, and like, okay, and you just constantly almost problem solving ahead of any problems. But then if they happen, you can deal with them really, really quickly. And that's something that I've always been good at, but I've had to learn to hone those skills in over the years, and I'm quite good at that now, I think. Yeah. I've just cursed myself, touch wood.
That would be absolutely fine.
I'll blame you if something goes wrong and my head.
Yeah.
I'll blame on you.
And I feel like those mistakes, or not mistakes, but those problems you have to solve, sort of make you a bit better for the next time. I mean, the example I have is of the 90s revival. We went to the fireworks display they did at the Westminster Showground this year, and we went last year as well. And last year they had a power cut, and they couldn't do their full 90s revival thing. They didn't have a screen working, but they still had sound and a few lights, so they did a great job last year with what they had. But this year everything worked and they had it going. But I think because last year they had all those issues, they went bam and they put on an amazing show. And I think that is probably because of what happened the year before, and it was just phenomenal.
Don't you think that happens in any job, doesn't it? Really, regardless of what your job is or what your role is or what you do, there's always potential for either error or problems, even things that you can't foresee, like a power cut or something, like the internet going down, and we learn from it. It's all, we pick up and we deal with it and we learn from it. And then maybe the next time you think, oh, right, we need to have maybe a backup generator. The power goes down again. And then next year's better, but then it's better that year. But then there'll be a problem that year that you learn on again for the following one. And it's just like this evolving game of learning your industry all the time. And I guess that's the same, like across every role, regardless of what you do for a job. And it's good, I love that. I love to be learning all the time, and I don't mind making mistakes. I don't like to do them, but actually I like to take the lesson from them. But yeah, it's I don't know, some of us thrive on that, don't we?
Yeah. And I think it's about finding that fine balance away. Like you've got to give yourself time with your friends and time with your family as well. And I feel like if you reward yourself with those things, you don't burn out, and you don't when you come to fixing those situations, you're not like, I just give up. I feel like you've got to have those rewards as well as the I wouldn't say the punishments, but the hard work as well. Do you know what I mean? I've done that today. I've done that today. I think we were just talking before we hit record, like it's been such a crazy day. I've done that today. I've organized way too much today, and I've done that, and I'm gonna definitely take that lesson and learn, because I've been at it since stupid o'clock this morning, and meetings, editing. I woke up this morning and completely forgot I'd released a podcast. I was like, oh my god, I need to do and I hadn't, because I create the little video outtakes I do and put stuff on reels, and I was like, oh my god, I haven't done any of it. So I had to do all that, and then I had a meeting, and then I did a guest thing on it. It's been crazy. And then I've got the thing later on today. I'm exhausted. Shouldn't do that to yourself, should you really?
No, you do. I think you do have to find that balance, so that you don't hit burnout. Because, do you know what? I think it's really difficult for people like you and I who when you love your job and you're really passionate about it. Yeah. It's so hard to stop when actually I should be taking this evening out, or I should be spending a bit more time with the kids, or I just need to take some quiet time for myself. It's so difficult to do that when you actually really enjoy what you do. And I found that
no one's fault but mine. It's my fault for taking on too much because I want to do it.
But you have to almost like lay boundaries with yourself. these are my boundaries. These are going to be my work hours. And for me, like during the summer is a really busy time. And this is a really busy time where I might work for 4 weeks without a single day off. And I love it. But then I get to the end of the 4 weeks when I'm like, oh, you know what? I should have forced myself a bit of time off because I'm feeling burnt out.
Yeah.
But it's so difficult when you genuinely love your job.
Yeah.
Really difficult.
Well, it makes it more difficult, the fact that Shrewsbury's just flipping amazing. Like, the last few interviews I've had over the last 3 weeks have just been, I've been doing this for years. I can't remember having a run. All my guests are amazing, but I have learned so much from my guests over the last few weeks. And, there was, for example, we had Verity Jane and Loren Stokes come and speak to me about their cancer survival stories, and just hearing them talking amongst themselves, and about there are times in that podcast I just sat back and I was like, oh my god, this is happening, and like, so the more that happens, the more I want to do it. So stop being amazing, Shrewsbury. You're what would you say to someone? What would you say to someone that is as passionate as, say, you and I, or many others out there that are in the situation that we're in right now and need to learn that balance? And obviously you can reward yourself, and you, like you just said, finding that balance, but how have you learned how to do it? Have you had to force yourself, or have you had to, like...
as with everything in my life, I seem to learn the hard way. So I basically burnt myself out just before the pandemic, actually. I'd got a lot of stuff going on in my private life that was really difficult at that time. And I threw myself even deeper into work to distract myself. Rather than dealing with that, which I didn't, I threw myself into work and I burnt out. So actually the pandemic came at a really good time for me because I needed that time off. I needed to give the time and have quality time with my children. So for me, I learned the hard way. But then coming back into work, so for the events industry, we virtually shut down for like 18 months. We, other than online stuff, our industry was closed. And then coming back into it, I just started with a new mindset and said, right, okay, I don't work in an industry where it's a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And my hours sometimes are long shifts and late shifts, and I'm on the road a lot. So I need to make sure every week I plan some time in for myself and my children, even if it's one evening where we get a pizza in and watch a movie. I have to do it. And so I started, it was easier because we'd been shut, so I hadn't been working. It's difficult, isn't it, to try and implement new things into such a busy routine that you already have. But because we were just starting up fresh, like, right, this is how I'm going to do this, and at least once a week I need to give myself some time out. It doesn't always work like that, but I'm very mindful about it, and I've been very lucky in that I work through with my work and with the festivals that I organise, especially Wellbeing Festival, that I've got all of these people around me that can give you pointers and ideas and advice. And so I'm lucky that I have that, and I have these people around me to kind of point me in the right direction. But for me, that's how, I've never done it before. I've just literally thrown myself into work all the time. But
well, with me, we were messing about with. We had a blood pressure machine. I mentioned my wife's aunties last night, and then we did my blood pressure. It was really high, and my wife's was really low. Or fine, just normal. So like, my wife was like, "That's because you're stressed all the time, Alex." And I'm like, "Yes, I know." So it's a serious thing. I'm doing too much. So what I'm going to do is, I put on Facebook a couple of weeks ago that I'm looking for a new co-host and a producer, someone to help me out. And I'm genuinely serious. I want to be able to send someone to an event rather than I'm having a night with the family. I can send my co-host. Yeah. Can pick up the equipment and go. So like, if you're listening to this genuinely, and you really do, and you're local, you got a bit of time, and you want to come help out with the Shrewsbury Biscuit, we get to events, and we've got quite a good reputation in the town. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. So if you are listening to this, and you want to come help out on the Shrewsbury Biscuit, get in touch, because you're probably going to save my life. In all honesty,
it's weird though, isn't it? Because like the biscuit for you, it started small, and it was a crumb in a sense, and now it's like this big thing. But when you've grown something as a solo person, and you've grown it and it's grown and grown and grown, then you get to the point where you need to outsource some jobs and bring other people in to help. It's really difficult to let it go, isn't it? This is your baby. You're just like,
this is my baby.
And to hand it to somebody else to be responsible for, even if it's an element of it, that's really hard. But you have to do it.
We had a team for a bit. We've had people come in and, Shane got a job at nights and he couldn't balance it out. So it didn't quite work out for him, which is fair enough. Jules moved to Scotland. How dare she have a life? And I just, I know. And, there are people that have come and gone from the biscuit. And I a lot of the successes of the biscuit have definitely 100% attest to them and their efforts. And I'm just lazy and I haven't been able to bring more people in. I'm kind of like, I don't want to keep people coming and going.
Have you found it hard though? At those points where you've given you've had other people come in to help, did you find it hard handing over bits of elements of the biscuit to them, because you constantly you want to be there, don't you?
It was one of my biggest problems, actually. We set up a time tree, a shared time tree account, so everybody could see what's going on. Time tree is like a calendar that you can share amongst people, right? And I'd be like going here, there, and everywhere, and they'd be like, "Well, we didn't see it on time tree," and that's because I forget to put it on because I'm just so headstrong. I'd be like, "Go into it." Do you know what I mean? And I would struggle. It's not because I didn't trust them with the event or anything like that, because I'd just be like, "Yeah, I'll be there," and I'd just go. Do you know what I mean? And I want someone to be able to let it go, isn't it? And that's why I need a producer, someone that can look at the calendar and be like, yeah, we're going to split this up a little bit, and someone that, what I mean? They would work out so well. Like the biscuit is growing. It's crazy. I was the podcast that I was on earlier. It's called That Was Great, wasn't it? And I had to watch a 1989 cartoon. It was the Karate Kid. I had to watch an episode, review it, and it was wonderful actually. And I was like, yeah, we're on a Monopoly board, and so, which is something that just falls out my mouth now and again. And he goes, wait, you're on a Monopoly board? And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, the Shrewsbury Monopoly, we did it all. And he was like, that's an amazing. We've done that, And
another great thing about Shrewsbury, we've got our own Monopoly board.
Yeah, we've got our own Monopoly. Charles Darwin and Carrie Hughes.
I don't think I was on it, but maybe next time.
But no, it's a great thing to be a part of the Shrewsbury Biscuit, and we're working on new things as well. I had a meeting with Web Orchard, that they made our website, but what happened was I kind of ruined it. I kind of moved to a new host. We were with Podbean, and then I went to Captivate, which I've got a logo here for, which is because so the way it works a podcast is. There's the logo there. That's Captivate. The way it works is you have an RSS feed for what you make, and you pay a host to take the RSS feed and spread it to Spotify and iTunes, wherever it goes, right? And I was using Podbean, and I kind of moved away from Thor's Kin, my old podcast, and they deleted it. And I was kind of like, whoa, what did you do that for? Like, I just wasn't doing it anymore. You didn't have to delete it. I didn't like how they treated it. I know. So I found a British company, Captivate, and we moved so we had a new RSS, which messed with our website, and it kind of killed the old website. So Web Orchard, I'm going to build us a brand new state-of-the-art website. So that's
Web Orchard. They're local, aren't they?
Yes, they're on Coton Hill.
Yeah, I thought so. I know who you mean. Yeah. Pete
White, he's an amazing guy. Yeah. So yeah, they're going to be our exclusive sponsors because they're making us a very expensive, very nice, flashy website. So if you need a website, guys, go Web Orchard.
Yeah.
And what about next year? Obviously, you are doing this year, these amazing events. Are you now planning things for 2023?
Yeah, so there's our 2023 calendar is virtually full already. So we will publish those dates in the new year. I also do quite a bit of freelance management work as well. So I'm quite heavily involved in Crazy Races. I think you've
I saw you there.
Yes, yeah.
I saw you there.
So with Crazy Races, we have 6 events across the UK. This I keep saying this year because in our industry we say this year, but we mean 2023. I'll try and speak
this coming year.
Yeah. So for 2023, there's 6 events in the calendar, and I'm quite heavily involved in the organising and also the management of those events on the day. So that's filled quite a lot of my time on top of all my events. So I've got 8 in the calendar next year. I've got some other freelance work locally over at Ironbridge. So I currently freelance manage some of their events over there at Bliss Hill Museum, which is an amazing place to work. And then there's loads of other opportunities that keep falling on my plate. Within the county, all great events, some of them big, some of them small, and I just want to do them all. But my calendar is not going to allow me to do that, obviously, unless I can clone myself. So yeah, next year 2023 is pretty full for me. I'm in talks at the moment, so Wellbeing Festival is one of my events, and it's just been absolutely cursed by bad luck and the pandemic and one thing and another that it's there, and it's just this great big full and wholesome event that's just ready to bloom. And I'm just in talks with somebody at the moment. There's hopefully some really good news to come on that next week. So I'll chat to you about that then once I can disclose it.
You got all the support of the biscuit with that.
Yeah, thank you. So there's just so much happening next year. I've also got a house move and a trip to Australia. And I just keep looking at it thinking, I don't know when I'm going to get all this in. But we make it work. We'll do the things, we make it work. So
I want to give a huge shout out to the guys from Festival as well, because I feel so bad because I wrote to them and I was like, I think we can still definitely make some great content. We can for sure, but I was like, yo, Festival, well, let's just do some stuff together. We can do some on the build up to the festival. We can come to the festival, we can bring my own studio, whatever. And they were like, do you want to open up one of our tents? And I was like, wow, what an amazing honor.
Yeah.
But my wife booked a holiday to Turkey. This amazing opportunity, and we're not going to be in the country. So I'm definitely going to work with them and hopefully do like some build up.
Yeah, because they're back in 2023, aren't they?
I think apparently they've sold 10,000 tickets already.
Amazing. I mean, don't you just think this is incredible? All of these really great, especially the family events that seem to be coming to Shropshire, and we're encouraging them in, and actually as a county and a community we're really embracing them. I just love it. What a place to live. We're so lucky. So lucky.
Really are. But you know what, you're welcome back anytime. I love bringing you on and chatting to you, even just general. Let's just talk about I'm a celebrity, whatever. I don't care. Let's sit and
we started on that. Another hour.
It's funny because I was chatting to Lincoln Davis earlier. They were like, are you coming to Abbey Fest, aren't you? So you've got an hour. You've got an hour of my time because I want to get back and watch I'm a Celebrity. It's crazy. And it's weird because there's a couple of weird things that I enjoy in my life. Okay. One of them is I'm a Celebrity. I don't know what it is. I don't even watch normal terrestrial TV. So adverts.
No, you're like me, normally.
I watch Netflix and stuff normally. So adverts in the middle of my stuff, I'm kind of like, no, I don't like this. But can you tell people where they can follow you on social media if they're listening to this and they don't already?
So they can find all of my events are linked to my company profile on Facebook, which is Pink Pebble Events, or they can find us on Facebook and Instagram as Shropshire Handmade and Creative, or they can find us on Instagram and Facebook as Shropshire Festive Gift Market. So those are the events that we've got coming up. There's lots of other events that fall under the Pink Pebble umbrella, so they can all be found from pinkpebbleevents.co.uk or that Facebook page there, which links you to the website. So that's probably your best point of call. But
and we're going to be there as well. We're going to bring some microphones and we're going to speak to some.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got some school choirs coming in to sing at St. Mary's. So, and that building, there's like the choir stalls in the church. So to have all the kids, primary school kids come in, and they're basically going to perform what they've been practicing at school for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So that would be beautiful because obviously the acoustics in the church are amazing and the atmosphere will be great. So I'll let you know when that's on, and maybe come along for that.
Yeah, we'll be there. Oh, I can't wait. I really can't. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I want to give a huge. So we are putting together. I mentioned earlier in the podcast, Biscuit International, and we've got. It's crazy because I thought I'm going to struggle. I want to do 6 episodes, speaking to some of my friends from around the world. Oh gosh! Now, when I was doing USUK, US UK, I always have to do that. We were working with TV Guestbert, and they're a company that, if you've got a book out, they'll get you on TV, or they'll give you an appearance on this, that, and the other. And they gave us so many amazing guests to speak to. And it's run by Jackie Jordan, an amazing person. And so I wrote to Laura from TV Guestbert. I was like, hey, you remember me? We used to do things again. I'm doing these things. And within minutes, she sent me like all these suggestions of people that can come on the show. So she filled up our schedule straight away. But a person I'm really looking forward to speaking to again is a gentleman called Peter Bedard, who was a found dancer who had an accident and his body was just destroyed, and they had to bring him back and stuff. And he was taking a lot of pain medication in America, and it wasn't great for him. So he had to heal himself holistically, which was
okay.
And he's got an amazing story. He really has. So we got that. Honestly, he's really, really fantastic. So I'm really excited to speak to him again. And pen friend Laura Kidd, who's here in the UK, but not in Shropshire. I'm going to speak to her too. She's got an amazing podcast called Attention Engineer. And she's a musician herself, and she's wonderful. So I can't wait to speak to her. So Biscuit International is coming. So keep your eyes peeled for that, guys. So there we go. Carrie, you're amazing.
Thank you, Alex. You too.
Yeah. And
I'm sure we'll chat again soon.
Absolutely. Stay behind after the outro's played, and I'll say goodbye to you properly. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time. All right, peace out. Goodbye.